Hey fellow YouTubers, tonight we're going to make a dessert. It's called fruit nut bread pudding. I actually got the recipe from Taste of Home magazine. It's got a lot of really good recipes in it and it's a really good magazine. So let's get started. First thing you want to do is take 16 slices of day-old bread and basically rip it into like 1-inch pieces. And I just have this in a great big aluminum pan since that's what we have. Next we take 2 cups of sugar. Sprinkle over the top of the bread and just kind of distribute this all over. Next we want to take 4 eggs. Always crack your eggs into something separate to make sure that you don't have a bad egg in there, because if you throw one bad egg in with all the good ones, you're going to ruin the whole entire batch. So that's a good egg, so we'll do them one at a time and we'll put 4 of them in there. And one more. I will give a list of all the ingredients at the end of the video, so if you want to make this recipe, then you have the ingredients that you need. Measure out 3 cups of milk. This is a 2-cup measuring cup. There's 2. That makes 3. Next we need 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. If you have a sprinkle top container like that, just take the top of it off. There's 1. There's 2. And a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. If you've been cooking as long as I have, and you can pretty much put stuff in your hand and know how much you have. But that's a 1/2 teaspoon of that. Next we need 2 tablespoons of vanilla extract. There's 1. And there's 2. We want to beat this until it gets good and frothy. As you can see, the eggs fluffed up real nice. And then we're going to take this, pour it over the top of the bread. I usually try to make sure to get all of it coated. Get a spatula real quick. This is actually it's a pretty simple recipe and feeds quite a few people because it is really, really rich. And it's really good with a dollop of vanilla ice cream or some Cool Whip. We usually have it with Cool Whip. Just kind of stir this around and get it coated. Get some aluminum foil. And just cover this with aluminum foil and put it in the refrigerator and let it set for 2 hours. Anyway, our bread pudding's been sitting for 2 hours, so I went and got it out of the refrigerator. Now I want to add a cup of raisins. Probably have to break these up. Okay, and can of apple pie filling. Make sure, I already have, but make sure you always wipe the tops of these off with a washcloth. And the slices in here are pretty good size, so I usually take a knife down inside of the can and I'll run it 3 or 4 different directions just to chop it up a little bit. Okay. We'll put this in here too. get all the goodies out of it. Next we have, it calls for 2 cups, but the packages come in a 1.5 cups of pecans. You could use walnuts if you want, if you like walnuts. They kind of give me heartburn, so I usually eat pecans. And then just porcelain chop these. Or if all else fails, that seems to be taking too long. Carefully with the blade away from you. Close the bag. And smash them. And that works just as good or better. Yes, my countertop's clean. We just got done doing dishes. And we have preheated the oven to 350 degrees. And take and mix this in. And I got one more thing to put in here. 3/4 of a cup of melted butter or margarine. And we'll just mix this all around until we get it mixed in. And there's what it looks like when it's been all mixed up. Just make sure and try to coat everything. Just stir it around so it's all mixed real well. And we're going to put this in a sprayed 9x13 pan at 350 degrees for approximately 45 to 50 minutes. I would start checking it anyway at 40 minutes. And I'll spray our pan real good. Make sure and get up around the edges, because this has so much sugar in it. It'll kind of caramelize around the edges of the pan if you don't spray it real good. It might be kind of a pain in the butt to try to clean. And just take this. This is really going to fill this pan up, so don't be surprised. I never claimed to be a neat cook, and you can probably tell by my methods that I'm really not. But it's the end product that's important, right? Who cares how it gets to the table as long as it gets there? Just kind of push this down in the pan real good. Kind of try to squish this in there so that the bread doesn't burn on top. Because this won't be covered or anything when you cook it. You just cook it the way it is. Alright. There we go. And now we'll put it into the oven. And I will suggest, everybody's got one of these, don't they? A crappy cookie sheet. Wipe that mess off I made. I bet Julia Child wasn't real neat either. Don't want that to stick to anything and make a smell in the oven. There we go. Just so this cookie sheet isn't so impossible to clean. Even though it's a crappy cookie sheet. And I put a piece of aluminum foil on that too. So, there we go. And we will put it into the oven at 350 degrees. 45 to 50 minutes. You may have to go over that. That's not, with this stuff, that's not a hard set rule. We'll put this in here, and I will set the timer. I always start checking things about 5 minutes early. So I'm going to set the timer for 40 minutes, and we'll see it again when it comes out. And here's a picture of the completed bread pudding. Pecans, raisins, apple slices. Good stuff.